All right. Hello, everyone. I see people are starting to enter. Thank you to all of you who have come to join us on this Thursday night. This is our 7th event this week, so you've been keeping us very busy. I hope we have a few repeat visitors joining us here today and that these have been really helpful and inspiring events for everybody who's been joining us. I am going to give everyone just a couple moments to come on in and get ready. So while we're waiting for everyone to join, I'm going to go ahead and launch a poll and just see who we have here with us today. So if you want to go ahead and just select on the screen whether you're a student, parent, or educator, and then what grade level you or your students are in. Thanks that people are responding. Thank you to everybody who's here and engaging with us today. Give it just a couple more moments. All right. Great, thank you. It looks like we have lots of students with us here today and lots of high school seniors especially, which I think is perfect for most of the programs that we have represented. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump in. All right, so my name is Jessica Beatty. I am the community manager for Go Overseas, as well as an event coordinator for USA Gap Year Fairs. For the past 14 years, USA Gap Year Fairs has partnered with progressive high schools all across the country, and we've offered these events to educate, inspire, and empower students to look beyond the classroom and pursue opportunities for experiential learning. As we've been adapting to changing times this year, we have redesigned our in-person events, and we're so excited to provide our virtual community with inspiration and guidance. A little bit about Go Overseas. You can kind of think of us as Yelp, but for meaningful travel experiences. We don't operate any overseas programs ourselves, but we are a resource for planning many different types of international education, including study abroad, volunteer abroad, gap year, high school, intern, work, teach abroad, etc. Whatever international experience you'd like to have, we have options for it. You can use our site to browse programs, read verified alumni reviews, and explore other resources such as articles, guides, and scholarships. If you're inspired today to take the leap and start planning your gap year, we hope that you'll use Go Overseas to do your research. We also are a fantastic resource for scholarships. Actually, coming up early next year, we are announcing over $15,000 in scholarships. So if you would like to join us, please keep an eye on usagapyearfairs.org. I'll go ahead and drop that link in the chat box for everybody to use. And starting on February 1st, we will open that scholarship to help us kick off Gap Year Exploration Month. You all are in the chat box. We have a great panel lined up for you here today. We have Marianne Taylor from Taylor the Gap. Matt is joining us from NOLS, Margot from ARCC, Kyle from Seamester, and Claire from the High Mountain Institute. If you have any questions, do feel free to submit them at any point through the Q&A box, which is there at the bottom of your screen. We'll do Q&A at the end, but please keep your questions coming whenever you think of them. You can submit them at any point throughout the webinar today. Without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and pass this off to Marianne to get started.
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm really excited because I get to speak with just 4 great wilderness programs tonight. I love all of them. And I envy all of you students out there who's looking at these opportunities. These are just a couple of pictures. These are my daughter actually in Peru. She was about to head over to that mountain there. But this is one of my favorite quotes. Tell me, what is it you plan to do with your one wild and precious life? And I think it's a wonderful entry point as you head out into the wilderness full of fun and adventure. Next slide. I have been a gap year advisor for about 10 years, coming up this January. I have a master's in social work, so I have about 30 plus years of working with families, children, and teenagers. I founded Taylor the Gap because I had done a great deal of travel on my own, and I feel very passionately that seeing communities outside your own, whether they be domestic or international, really make a difference in terms of your perspective moving forward in the world. I became accredited with the Gap Year Association in 2018, so for about 2 years, and I've just rotated off the board of the Gap Year Association after 2 years serving as ambassador for Gap Year counselors. Next slide. What I bring that is a little bit unique is that I am a gap year veteran. I took a gap year way, way back in the medieval ages in 1974, before any of you were probably even born. And I spent the year at the University of Grenoble learning French and also skiing, I will admit. And then I used my French after college, and I spent 3 years in Peace Corps in French-speaking West Africa in Senegal, in a very small village of about 1,000. But I needed my French in order to learn the local dialect, which was Jola. And since that time, I've gone on to do 2 Spanish immersion programs, realizing that was way more practical. And I have spent a lot of time volunteering Tanzania, Rwanda, Uganda, and then traveling to do site visits in Peru, also Nepal. So throughout my adult life, I have also been seeing gap year programs and taking gap experiences myself. I also bring the parenting perspective. Go back a minute. I have 4 children. They're all older now, but they all took a gap experience of one sort or another. My 2 eldest daughters took it after college. One volunteered in a preschool in South Africa, and one interned in Washington, D.C., and then down in South Africa as well. My son, who was quite young, who really needed an extra year to mature, he spent the year working 3 different jobs in Moab and teaching snowboarding, and then in a restaurant. And then my youngest son did a study abroad and then did his gap year as a fellow after college. I also bring, as I mentioned, my social work background, which has been very, very helpful. Oftentimes you find that there's a tension between the parents and the students, and I can act as a third party and a facilitator to smooth out any sort of tension and to help shift the guidance with the student, working with the student in order to plan the gap year. Next. So if you missed Monday or Tuesday night when they did the introductions to Gap Year Planning 101, I'm just going to very briefly go over the 4 W's, I call them. What is a gap year? That is really an intentional period of time. I usually recommend at least 4 weeks, where you set aside and usually it's hands-on, get outside the traditional classroom and take some time to reflect and experience firsthand outside your community. It could be domestic or it could be international. But it's time that our high schoolers don't set aside. And it's a time where you can really focus on what you want to study and learn later on in college. Why take a gap year? That is a very essential question for framing your goals as you head into your gap year planning. What is it that is moving you or motivating you to take a gap year? Is it that you're burnt out from high school? Is it that you are a better hands-on learner? Is it that you really just don't have any idea what you're going to study, what your purpose or focus is in college? Or is it that maybe you need 1 more year to mature and grow up? All of those are terrific reasons as to why to take a gap year. When to take a gap year totally depends. For our purposes tonight, the majority are taking a gap year between high school and college. And it could be a semester, it could be a year. I am working more and more, especially this year with COVID, with students that are in college that want to take a leave of absence because it's all online. And I also have been working with students who are interested in grad school, that are post-grad, but want to dip their toe in the water for a career, whether it be an internship or perhaps something in that field that they're interested in. And I've even worked with adults who are changing jobs or entering retirement. Who takes a gap year, we already discussed, but I always think it's a good idea for a student to be curious, a student to be flexible, and a student to be open-minded. Those are all really great qualities to have. So there are so many geographical opportunities. This year with COVID opened up so many domestic possibilities in the US. I mean, really exciting. Alaska, Hawaii, the Southwest, the Four Corner areas, the Northwest, rural areas. Up in Maine, we had a program. Down in the Southeast, we had a program. Hawaii opened up. And it was just really kind of exciting that COVID forced a lot of gap programs that were normally international that you're going to hear about today, and they ended up having to go domestic. But also there were some that actually did work and operate this fall. I believe in Israel and Ireland were 2 in Costa Rica. And they are now opening up more and more, as I've listed here, in these countries, as well as at sea, which has remarkably been operating all the way through. And you're going to hear more from Kyle about that. And then I think after COVID, when that vaccine is finally here, everyone will get back to the global international travel as well. Lots and lots of possibilities. Backpacking, hiking, biking, camping, rock climbing, sailing, river rafting, cross-country skiing, you name it, they have come up with it. I get kind of excited when I just share all the possibilities with students. And I think when you're looking at some of these wilderness programs, you need to really assess, one, if you've been away from home and you can be independent, if you've perhaps spent time at camp, perhaps you have traveled a bit before on your own, then perhaps you can be more independent and perhaps, track on the Milford Track by yourself. But if you have not, and if your parents are feeling more comfortable, then go with a group, especially in the fall term, where it's 12 to 14 peers. Everybody wants to be with their peers of their own age right now, with 2 or 3 program leaders who usually end up being terrific mentors, that may have a theme, whether it be sustainable or environmental conservation. It may be education in a specific area. But those also, it's worth looking at college credit. Many programs, and I think some will be talked about today, do allow for college credit for some of the themes and some of the coursework that you'll be doing on these programs. But my one warning would be check in advance with your future college to see if those college credits are accepted before you go ahead and pay that extra amount, because oftentimes it may not be, and then you've already gone through that. So that's something to double check on. So with that, I will turn it over to Matt, who's going to talk about NOLS.
Thank you, Marion. That was always very informative. Hello, everyone. I am going to chat everyone my email before I forget. I have a few minutes here to discuss NOLS, which is the National Outdoor Leadership School. We were founded in 1965. For those of you that are quick at math, that's 55 years of running expedition style trips all over the world. A lot of those skills that Marion just listed, sea kayaking, backpacking, rock climbing, mountaineering, we teach. So NOLS is first and foremost a leadership school, but we learn leadership through outdoor adventures in wilderness areas. So can I actually, yeah, we'll go to the next slide. So these wilderness adventures will teach you all kinds of different things about yourself and different technical skills. And part of what we're doing as a school these days is learning the risks of COVID and dealing with those risks. And part of the NOLS curriculum has always been risk assessment. So we're just viewing COVID as another risk. We are basically assuming that any student that comes to us is an asymptomatic carrier. We're requiring mask wearing. We're doing a lot of hand washing. And we've done a few things where you would have individual sleeping arrangements and that kind of stuff. So we are very much trying to prevent any spread of COVID-19 on our courses, and are trying to keep our students, staff, and faculty safe. If we could go to the next one. These are just I'll just kind of quickly go over just some general practices that we've been doing to try to limit the spread. Like I said, daily health checks, mask wearing, individual sleeping arrangements, hand washing, that kind of stuff. If I could go to the last slide, I'm going to spend the most time here talking about different course options. NOLS has a lot of different programming going out. We have been operational since July of this year. We just put we put about 15 semester courses into the field this fall. We are planning to operate about 18 this spring, including our first international location, which will be in Mexico on our Baja location, which we've been actually operating since the 1970s. What's really cool about NOLS is that NOLS can fit into a whole range of schedules. We have courses ranging anywhere from 7 days in length to 165 field days. So really big variety of courses as well. So we have different skill types, we have different lengths, and different focuses at the school as well. I don't know how much time I still have, but you can operate or you can earn academic credit for any expedition over 7 days in length. So some of the shorter courses, 7 to 21 days. You have 2 to 4 college credits. 30-day courses, think like summer and maybe into the fall. Kind of courses can offer you 6 college credits. Semester-based programming, so we have summer, spring, and fall semester programming can earn you anywhere from 10 to 19 college credits. And we have year-long options here in the United States and in Patagonia that could offer you 32 college credits. These college credits can be earned through a multitude of schools. Our main partner is the University of Utah, but we do consortium agreements. We also work with Western Colorado State University to process 529 award or 529 savings plans and AmeriCorps awards as well. So there are a lot of different flexible options. NOLS also has a scholarship program for about $1 million, where we give out $1 million a year in scholarship aid. If any of you all have questions, I did drop my email in the chat. Feel free to reach out. I think that is my time. So thank you all.
All right, thanks. Hi there, everyone. My name is Margot, and I work with ARC GAP programs. We have both summer and gap year programs, although I will obviously focus on the GAP programs for the purposes of this. I started with ARC about 5 years ago as a leader on our summer and gap year programs before moving into the office. So been here a while, but ARC has been running programs since 1983. So certainly building on not quite as long as NOLS, but a good bit of experience running programs. We have both fall and spring semester programs that are 60 to 80 days in length, depending on the region or which program it is. It is meant to be an educational semester in the sense that we want students learning more about various global themes, local issues and such, but it is not meant to be an academic program. It's not meant to be like school. These are group-based cohort programs. So the groups are 8 to 13 students traveling with 2 instructors for the duration of the semester. And our age range is 17 to 20. So our students have graduated from high school, some maybe early grads on the 17 side, and then some who've maybe done a semester or year of college and are now taking gap time. So that is our typical student population. We do have financial aid and scholarships available. So I do have more information about that on our website if anyone is interested. And we do offer college credit as well through Portland State that is available for any of our semester programs. You students can earn up to, I believe, 18 quarter credit hours, which translates to roughly 12 semester credit hours, which I know is similar for any GYA accredited programs, but we do offer that. And we do have 529 availability through Portland State as well. I forgot to do this at the beginning, but I will drop in my email as well as our website for anybody that has questions later on or wants to visit the webpage. So this year with COVID, obviously we pivoted, as so many people did. Up until now, all of our semesters had been international. We've been running domestic summer programs since the 80s. So we decided to build upon our experiences running domestic programs to lengthen those and build upon longstanding partnerships as well as some new partnerships to create new domestic programs. A little bit about our COVID protocols as well. We did run both summer and gap programs this year with very, specific COVID protocols for prevention prior to the program, including, isolation up until the beginning and keeping a daily health log before the program begins, a series of 3 COVID tests, 1 prior to joining the program, and then 2 after arriving on the program to ensure that all students are healthy, and then creating a pod or family unit for the rest of the program. And mask wearing up until those tests have come back, as well as once afterwards, whenever in the presence of anybody else outside of the group. So we were able to run all 3 of these programs this fall and are planning to continue those even post-COVID. We've been really excited to bring domestic programming into our repertoire. So these are our 3 different domestic programs that we are offering. Right now, those are available for fall and spring. These are all more camping-based programs. They're still not going to be the hard wilderness skills or anything like that, but camping, outdoor living, leadership skills, and education, a lot of which is primarily focused on environmental and conservation sort of education. Although for most of our programs, we do have 5 global themes that you would be learning about in a non-COVID time. But that has been the focus of these programs, along with outdoor adventure activities. So some might be scuba diving, or actually all of these had scuba diving, backpacking, or rock climbing, just kind of depending on which program it is. And the Northwest and Southwest programs do have a wilderness first responder certification as a part of them as well, which is an 80-hour backcountry medical certification. And then we do have these 5 different international programs that we are hoping by fall 2021 will be back to normal. Who knows? But in the meantime, we've been making modifications. All of these were canceled this fall, and we are planning to run 2 programs in Latin America with heavily altered itineraries for the spring. But in a normal year, these are the program offerings we offer internationally. These are not as much of the camping or outdoor living skills. Some of them, the East Africa program does provide that, but the rest of them are more of your traditional international travel programs. And the 5 global themes that you would be learning about on these programs that are part of our educational curriculum are public health, literacy and education, environment and conservation, microfinance and economic growth, and then urbanization and the movement of peoples. So learning about any of those through hands-on experiences in the countries through which you're traveling. So I think I'm about to time, but if anybody has questions after this, please feel free to email me or reach out. So.
There we go. Kelly, could you just start that could you pause that? Yeah, and then just roll that back. Thank you so much. I'm Kyle Busacker. I am with Seamester Study Abroad and Gap Year. Pardon, as everyone else is probably zooming in from their house, you're probably going to hear my 7 and 5-year-old somewhere in the background, which is why I'm actually so excited to show you something that we've actually been offering throughout COVID. Is hopefully a way to get outside of the computer screen and back into some real life education. So I'm going to go over some details. I think the best way to fundamentally understand what happens on our program is just to watch a quick video. So you won't have to hear my voice. You can watch it for yourselves, and then I'll pick up afterwards. So Kelly, if you want to just hit the play button. Is there no volume for anybody? Volume not working? You can pause it. I'll explain it.
On new horizons.
There we go.
It's not like you. The places, the languages, the colors, the customs, all those ways, all those lives. Everything seems so different. Yet with every ocean you cross, mountain you climb, and corner you turn, you glimpse something bigger, something that humbles you, that teaches you, that despite all the differences, there's always a connection. So with every adventure, every emotion, and every experience, you realize it's not what you leave behind. It's what you discover when you explore.
Awesome. Thanks, Kelly. We gave it a good shot. So look, I mean, like we're a program at sea. We're certainly an outdoor kind of wilderness adventure program. We, kind of the nitty gritty is that we operate in 3-month or shorter programs in the summer. 3-month programs in the fall and the spring. And then we have kind of a range of durations in the summer. But we have 3 vessels. 2 are 112 feet. 1 is 88 feet. So we're very small groups. We're 24 students on those bigger boats and 16 students on the smaller boats. And really, that's the reason that we've been able to operate since March. We have 3 programs out right now, and it's because we get to create this bubble of students. We do have an event coming up after this about COVID and our protocols, so I'll kind of spare some of that for right now. All of our programs are fully academically accredited. So some of the shorter programs are down to 3 credits. Our 3-month trips are 12 full credits through the University of South Florida. All students do participate in the credits. However, whether you use that credit is fundamentally up to you. Like I said, voyages are 20 to 90 days in length. And if you want to click to the next slide, Kelly, what I'm excited about kind of this presentation is like the vocational skills that we try to offer students while they're on board. I would imagine if we took a poll of just kind of these presenters, I know I'll speak to myself, like a lot of us started by doing a program such as this. We fell in love with it, and we wanted to do it as a career. There's so many programs. This is just 4 of us, and there's so many that are represented through all these fairs. And what we try to do is actually give you a springboard, a gap to working in an industry that we're presenting to you. So along with that credit, along with all the soft skills, the communication skills, the work ethic, the academic experience, we certify you. So you are a crew member from day 1 to day 90. And you're going to earn PADI certifications, IYT sailing certifications. You're going to get a resume of sea time. So we really try to build your resume if you want to go out and work and do some of the stuff you get experience as a student. And then quickly, Kelly, if you want to go to the last slide, we have a lot of trips coming up. As I mentioned, we've been running spring, summer, and fall trips. We do have 3 trips this spring. All of our trips are international. They have been throughout COVID. If you go to our website and click on all voyages, you'll be able to see this page, and they show chronologically. Okay. We're like most people, our demand is pretty through the roof because people are yearning to be in real life education again. So feel free to email us or wait after, and we can answer some more questions. But I want to make some time for Claire.
All right, thank you, Kyle. Yeah, I'm just going to drop my email, gap@hminet.org, as well as our website in there. Hopefully y'all can see that. So I am Claire. I am the Assistant Director of HMI Gap here in lovely Leadville, Colorado. We're located at 10,200 feet. So sometimes when I talk fast, I get out of breath, even after living here for 5 years. We've gone from sea level Seamester to now the highest incorporated city in North America. The High Mountain Institute, we are a fully accredited independent school here in the state of Colorado. We're also a 501c3 educational nonprofit, and we've been running high school semesters, summer term semesters, as well as our gap semesters for the past 25 years. I'm talking today about our gap semesters, but if you've got younger siblings or friends who are interested in spending a semester here in the Rockies or doing summer term, check out our website, it's all there. Our gap semester programs are all focused on adventure, on environmental studies, on real world conservation projects. You're getting your hands dirty out there doing service work, leadership, and then personal growth within a shared community. Community is really at the heart of everything we do here at the High Mountain Institute. All of our semesters are 80-day expedition-based semesters. So that means for an 80-day semester, you're probably sleeping 75 of those nights out in a tent, which is awesome, no matter what the weather is. It's a really beautiful experience, and there's absolutely no experience necessary. I really want to drive this home. I think for students who are thinking, that's crazy, that's not me, like I can't do like a full 80 days on a tent for any of these programs who have spoken. Lean in even a little bit more, because like getting out of your comfort zone is what you're supposed to do in a gap year. On all of our semesters, we cap our semesters at 12 students, and we have 3 instructors. We also have proven COVID protocols. We've been working through the pandemic as well. We've got 36 students out there right now, and since July we've supported over 150 students and staff in programs with great successful outcomes, and we've got multi-page document on our website if you can check out if you really want to see every detail of our plan. It works very similar to other plans that have been explained.
We're really proud here at HMI Gap of the fact that we're able to offer need-based financial aid. So a lot of folks have been asking about costs. Our program $16,400 for the semester for next year. And our goal is to meet the financial need of every single student who applies. And we've consistently been able to do that. So we really encourage students, if you think that this is something that's outside of what your family can afford, you should still apply and apply for financial aid. Our highest packages include full tuition, free gear rentals, as well as flights. We also have college credit options through Western Colorado University and through Portland State University, and students can use their 529 savings education plan. And Kelly, if you could do the next slide. Awesome. And we have no deadline to apply for the High Mountain Institute. It's rolling submissions, admissions, but like other programs, high demand for these right now. We're full for spring 2021 actually, and we have a wait list, but we do have availability for fall 2021 as well as spring 2022. I don't want to talk about this too much. I would encourage you to go to our website to see more specifics about the semesters that we offer. Generally, we are in the American West as well as in Chile and Patagonia. This year, we've been fully domestic. In the fall, we're hoping to offer both domestic programs in the American West, backpacking or rock climbing focused, and then other programs in the American West that will also travel to Chile and Patagonia. And one thing that separates our program from other maybe outdoor education programs is that our programs are really about a depth of skills over a breadth of skills. So you'll be really focused on either honing technical backpacking and canyoneering skills or technical rock climbing skills, rather than maybe focusing on 5 different outdoor skills where you might have had a lot of fun, really exciting, but with ours, you're going to develop a competency in one of these skills. So once again, I encourage you to go to the website and check out the specifics of those courses. But Kelly, if you please go to the next slide. I just want to spend time talking about what our values are here at the High Mountain Institute. At the High Mountain Institute, we value the integration of adventure, conservation, and leadership. And above all else, we are about creating an intentional and affirming community where all identities that can thrive. The outdoor education space hasn't traditionally been super welcoming or open to all identities out there. And this is something that we take really seriously at the High Mountain Institute. We work really hard to create a wonderful community with our students, and it's really hard to create a really affirming community where everyone feels like they can be the truest version of themselves. So that's something that's really important to you. We'd love to see your application come through. And then finally, I'll leave it on the note that all of our environmental studies curriculum, which you can earn college credit through, is place and community based. And we really want students to learn how to think. We don't want to tell them what to think. That's all I got for y'all. I think I'm at time, but I'm excited to answer questions, and please feel free to reach out.
Thank you, Claire, and thank you everyone for all of our fantastic presenters. That was so informative, and I know we don't give you a lot of time to work with, but I think it's a great way to get started. So we're going to move on into the Q&A box now. I am going to do another call for any questions that any of you attendees might have. We have had quite a few questions pass through the box already, so thanks for keeping those coming. Do feel free to add any more general or program specific questions in there now. We've got just one pending at the moment, which is asking what the deadline is to apply. I think, Claire, you said HMI had rolling deadlines, but maybe everyone else could elaborate.
NOLS also has rolling deadlines for application to its courses.
Great, thanks.
ARCC is also on a rolling admissions basis. Once things are full, we go onto a wait list. Same as I think what Claire said. Right now, we have open enrollment for fall 2021, and we will be opening enrollment for spring 2022 once we launch our spring 2021 programs, which we are still enrolling students on as well.
Fantastic.
Yep, same with us. It's the same thing. Like, we have limited enrollment on each vessel. So one of them's waitlisted for spring. The other two, one's extremely limited in the other one. So once we hit the 24 or the 16, depending on the vessel, we move on to a wait list. There's always some opportunities for switching trips, et cetera. But yeah, it's a hot topic, gap year programs right now.
All right, thank you guys so much. Our next question that we have coming in is asking if anyone has ever had to deal with a student who was nervous or had social anxiety. So maybe I could have Marion provide a little bit of insight there first, and then any of the program leaders who'd like to also add anything can add as well.
So thanks, Jess. I think there is a fair amount of anxiety around going on any of these trips, which I think is normal. But if you do suffer from anxiety and do take medication, it's important that you are able to take it independently. And most oftentimes the GAP program staff and a mental health therapist and the family or the student will work together before you embark on the trip to make sure that you're comfortable, that you're safe, and that there won't be any situation where it may trigger kind of an anxiety attack or a panic attack. I think it's really good to do kind of all the work on the front end, to be really transparent, both on the students' end as well as the GAP program's end, as to what they might be facing, whether they're on the high seas or they're going to be rappelling off a cliff. All of that needs to be talked about well in advance. So, but yes, I'd say many students come on board who have social anxiety, but that either are on meds and can manage that by themselves, or work with the GAP program in advance of the trip to work out whether they'll be in touch with their therapist, or all three of these programs can probably talk to what their protocols are.
Yeah, I mean, so we took the page from Outward Bound a while ago, and we have a pretty comprehensive, if someone's been seeing a therapist in the previous 12 years, this is just on if there's a prescription medication or someone does see a therapist. What we do is we have a pretty industry standard counseling questionnaire. And what we're trying to determine, not as if this is like the right program for you, but more of, is it the right time? And a lot of that is can be determined between you and your family and your therapist. And then what we want to do is really present to you ahead of time exactly what the challenges will be on the program. So that's our interview process, and I would assume it's similar. Like, we want you to know the nitty gritty of what it's going to be, what the challenges are, what support you'll have, what support you won't have, and then make that decision amongst the stakeholders, which is really you, your family, the therapist, and us just giving information and allowing you to make that proper decision. But it can be an amazing opportunity for social and personal and mental growth.
I will also add, I think I would speak for all of us in saying, I think what's most important to most GAP providers is transparency. And really, it's important for us to know what your background is, whether that's mental health background or physical health background that you might have, so that we know how to best support you while you're on one of our programs. And like, if you're in the backcountry, if you're in a place that doesn't have as ready access to mental or like physical health care, we want to make sure that we know how to support you and we're prepared to do so. So I think transparency is key here.
Yeah, just ditto Margot's point there, like being transparent and letting folks know in the program that, whatever you're dealing with is present. You want to address that before going into the backcountry where you don't have access to resources that you typically would.
Yeah, I echo everybody else's sentiments and just want to say this is such a case-by-case basis kind of thing. And it's really about having a good conversation with you while you're applying to make sure it's just a great fit for you and a great fit for us.
I think I might jump in here as well. Oftentimes before the student even enrolls in any of these programs, I, as a gap year advisor, take a look at eligible EEC eligibility criteria, essential eligibility criteria. Can the student be on time when the group is going to be leaving? Can they keep track of their belongings? Can they be part of a group as a team player, responsibility to cook or to clean up? All those type of questions, mental health, physical health, emotional health, those are all really important to look at before a child embarks on something that might be really challenging or put them in a situation which might be stressful. So those criteria are pretty important to kind of ask, and I do that with my students well in advance of choosing a program.
Great points. Thank you all for your contributions there. I do have a question that kind of relates to that. So going off of that, there's a student here who is very interested in doing a program like these, but they said that they are a bit shy. Can they bring a friend from home? Instead of going down the line, Marion, if I could just have you give your answer to that, what would you recommend about bringing friends from home?
Yes, you can bring your friend from home if you both are accepted, but I never recommend it. I say this is the time to break away from all that is familiar, all that is comfortable. Go your own ways. I just think you grow as an individual, you meet and make new lifelong friends. But yes, it's possible, but I always say try and do your own thing.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Marianne. Also, we have a question here asking if international students are eligible for financial aid. I can tell you, I believe that for the USA Gap Year Fair Scholarship, we are not accepting international students. I believe that it's only eligible to current US residents, so you don't need to have US citizenship, but you do need to be currently residing in the US. I can't speak to the other programs though, if they want to chime in there.
I think we're all a yes.
Yes, okay.
Absolutely.
All right, great news. Thank you for that. And then let's see, we'll take time for just one more question. We have a question here asking about winter programs in alpine or backcountry skiing. I'm not the expert here, so maybe if your program offers that, you can add a little bit about what you offer there.
Claire, I'll let you go first if you want to.
Yeah, so one of the things that I'm very excited about in us being domestic in the spring is that I'm a big skier. We're now offering backcountry skiing as part of our domestic spring courses. So right here in the Sawatch Mountains in my backyard, living in snow quigloos and telemark skiing. So that's just in our spring courses. It's about a kind of a 3-week skiing progression right in the middle of those courses. And yeah, full for spring 2021, but definitely spring 2022. We're excited, but encourage you to apply to the waitlist. Matt?
Yeah, also a big skier. Love to go skiing actually in Togety Pass, which is between here and Jackson, Wyoming. I'm in Lander, so if anyone knows where that is. NOLS has a few standalone skiing courses. We offer a backcountry avalanche training course. And we also, on a more typical year, do offer backcountry skiing and snowboarding courses standalone, like 1 to 2 weeks. And then most spring and fall Rocky Mountain semester courses that we offer do have a winter camping section of about 3 weeks, where you do learn how to live in a Quincy hut and keep yourself alive in the outdoors in the winter. And it does feature some skiing as well.
Great, thank you so much for adding that in. So it looks like we have no more open questions. So I think we're just gonna go ahead and pull up those last couple of slides and get you guys out of here on time. We do have another session coming up immediately after this one. We are going to be talking about gapping during COVID and going into detail on some health and safety procedures. So if that's something that sounds interesting and relevant to you, I'd encourage you all to join us. Again, it'll take place about 15 minutes after this one ends. I'm sure we have people joining us from multiple time zones, but they'll be at the 30-minute mark of this hour, wherever you are. So if you've opted in to receive updates, you will be hearing from today's participants, but if you would like to reach out to anyone individually, I know that we've been dropping emails and contact information in the chat box, where you can go ahead and screenshot that slide there to reach out individually after the presentation today. Moving on, we have a whole list of resources for you. Like we said, Go Overseas is a fantastic resource to browse articles, explore programs, and sign up for scholarship updates. So we would encourage you to do that. But we'd also say it's definitely great to work with a gap year counselor, work with any of the programs that we have featured here today or on any of our other panels. And there's always other resources out there for you as well. So this is our calendar. We are at the end of our week, but like I said, there's the risk management, gapping during COVID, health and safety session coming up immediately after this one. And we do have a final session tomorrow morning with Gap Year in the Arts. We have a bunch of European providers featured on that one, which is why it's in the morning. And we'd love to see you all join us tomorrow as well. So thank you so much for joining us. I'm going to drop one more link in the chat box for everybody. That's so that you can register for any of those remaining sessions that you'd like. Thank you all for joining us on this Thursday evening, and we hope to see you again soon. Thanks, everybody.